Welcome back to the Octagon Opinions channel. In today's video, as you can see in the corner there, we are going to be going through the UFC 329 card, the McGregor and Holloway 2. I'm going to be going through early prelims, giving predictions. Yeah, pretty simple stuff really. If you want, you can leave your predictions down below. It'd be interesting to see what other people think. But yeah, we'll jump right in with the early prelims. The way I'm going to do the early prelims, high key, low key, I'm just going off of their last fight, to be honest. Um, and for the very first fight, Alessandro Costa and Cody Durden, I am going with Alessandro Costa. Obviously, in his last fight, he got it was maybe a wee bit controversial of a win over Matt Schnell. I love saying that name, Matt Schnell. I just like the name. Um, but yeah, so Alessandro Costa coming off of a W, bit controversially maybe it was a wee bit of an early stoppage, that kind of thing. To be honest, I don't really know. It's Matt Schnell, all right. He's not climbing up the rankings. He's not. It doesn't really matter if it's an early stoppage. The guy's not really doing anything. It's not that big of a fight. Cody Durden, he is coming off of a loss against Rafael. Um, so again, just really simple. Costa's coming off of a win. Durden's coming off of a loss. Also, I think Costa maybe has a bit more to him, a bit more about him maybe. And yeah, I think Cody Durden will probably just lose the fight. No hate to Cody Durden, obviously. Big fan of his brother Tyler. Um, but yeah, no, that should be a pretty simple fight. We move on up the card to Ryan Gandra versus Zachary Reese. Again, don't overcomplicate it. It's an early prelim. Flip of a coin, right? Personally, I'm going with a Gandra W, a Gandra win, for those of you who are over 30. Um, but yeah, he's coming off of a win, coming off of a win. He's coming off of a win against Medina, due to, or not due to, but by way of a round one knockout. So again, pretty impressive stuff. I think that was his debut, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was his UFC debut, so pretty good debut. If it was, I've been having this thing with a fucking website recently where every time I try to go on and see their like a fighter's full fight history, it doesn't load. So if you're having the same problem, please do let me know and we can sort out this $7 billion company. But anyway, um, we've got Zachary Reese, who's coming off of a loss against Michel Pereira. And, to be honest, losing to Michel Pereira, look, it's not the worst loss you can have, especially as like a bit of an up and comer, or well, if you're not ranked. It's not a terrible loss. I mean, how did he even get that fight? It must have been short notice. And if it wasn't, what the fuck were the UFC doing? But yeah, I mean, it's not a terrible loss, but still, I think that Ryan Gandra, I think he's going to have something special for the McGregor comeback card. And who knows, he might get a round one knockout again. The odds, it's not too bad, doesn't look too bad. But yeah, I'm going with the Ryan Gandra win, possibly by knockout. But yeah, we'll hopefully see a lot of knockouts in this card, on this card. Anyway, we're not here for an English lesson. We move on to the next fight of the card with the bantamweight bout, Farid Basharat against John Garza. John Garza, not only is this mythical fighter, he's not unlocked. We have not unlocked John Garza yet. Um, I clicked on his name and it came up with no search results found. This guy is a ghost. Um, does anybody know John Garza? Has anybody seen John Garza? We don't know. We can't know. Um, Either way, it doesn't really matter. I'm going with Farid Basharat in this fight. I think his original opponent dropped out. So, it is what it is, late replacement. But Farid Basharat, 15 and 0, right? This guy's 15 and 0 at bantamweight. He's ranked 15th, and he's the third fight on the early prelims. That's a bit of a piss take. If I was him, I would be pretty pissed off. There's, I mean, fucking Tracy Cortez is a, I think is she the main, is she the last prelim fight or something? Like, guys, what are we doing here? Fareed Basharat should be much higher up on the card, but I mean, it'll be an exciting fight. I think Basharat will get the finish. Um, I mean, yeah, he's 15 and 0. Like, what, it's going to be a human sacrifice, let's be honest. John Garza, whoever you are, yeah, just have fun out there, to be honest. Just have fun. That's all I can really say. We move on to the next fight, middleweight bout, Damien Penis, against Cesar Almeida. Um, Now I am going with a Damien Penis W. Um, is it because I think his name sounds slightly funny when you say it like that? Yes, okay, it is. Um, but it is also because he's coming off of a win over Wes Schultz. And listen, not many people are coming off of a win against West Schultz. Okay, we have to be honest. Okay, not many people are coming off wins against West Schultz. West Schultz, he's a tricky guy, right? He's a tricky guy. His nickname is Party Time. He's a bit of a party pooper sometimes. I think in his last fight, oh, what is that? In West Schultz's last fight, just to go off on a tangent about West Schultz, um, who was he? He was against that fucking what do you call him? That guy who was like the coach, but he was stepping in on like really short notice, and he's like 50 years old or something. And I mean, he didn't have a terrible fight, I don't think. But yeah, I mean, Wes Schultz, man, he's a tricky guy. Damien Penis, he managed to get the win. Um, Almeida obviously coming off of a loss to some kind of fucking Scrabble, some guy whose name got made on a Scrabble board. Um, but overall, I think Penis is going to win this. Again, it's an early prelim. I'm not putting too much onto these fights. It's one way or the other. It is what it is. Almeida could get a knockout. I think in one of his past fights, he's won by round one knockout. So it could be anybody's game, right? But I'm going to go with Damien Penis. That's such a fucking funny name. If I am saying that wrong, genuinely, don't correct me. I don't care. Penis is funny. We move on to the next fight, Tracy Cortez against Wang Kong. Um, Wang Kong, King Kong, Ding Dong. I don't know what I'm doing. Um, anyway, we're going to go with Wang Kong for the win. Tracy Cortez is coming off of the submission loss to Erin Blanchfield in her last fight. Wang Kong, um, she's a bit of a Brazilian nightmare. I mean, she is, every Brazilian women's fighter's worst nightmare. That's a bit of a long title for a book, but you know what I mean, right? I think her last three fights, they've all been against Brazilian women, and she's beaten them all. Um, is there something there? Are we seeing a bit of a Quillen Salkio thing where she is, beating on other minorities? This is Asian on Latina crime. Okay, we got to stand up, right? Tracy Cortez, stand up for your Latina sisters. Stop this. I mean, I don't know if she's going to be able to stop her. I don't think she is. Personally, I think Wang Kong's going to get the W. All funny business aside, I don't really take Tracy Cortez that seriously as a fighter. Um, I mean, she seems like fine. She could probably beat me up in the street. Please. But honestly, I mean, like, what am I supposed to say, right? Is Tracy Cortez? I don't really think she takes things that seriously. And Wang Kong, I think, is gonna absolutely whip her. So I'm very much looking forward to that. And that is us over with the early prelims. Moving up to the actual prelims of the fight card, we've got Luke Riley and Kai Kamaka III. What a name, by the way. Can we just, I mean, I'm sure this is, been said before, but that's a pretty cool name, Kai Kamaka III. That's pretty cool. Either way, regardless, I am going to go with a Luke Riley win. Um, you know, it's Luke Riley's last performance, even though he did get the win, he said it himself in the post-fight press conference. or not the press conference, but his post-fight interview. He said he wasn't very happy with it. And we could all see it wasn't a great performance. It was more just, I think, about the fact that the other guy was just a bit shitter than him on the night. Um, uh, Kai Kamaka the third, he's coming off of a decision win over Dakota Hope. Uh, Whoever the fuck that cunt is, to be honest, I'll be honest, I don't know who Dakota Hope is, right? Shoot me, right? Shoot me, call me casual. I can hear the casual allegations coming my way. But I'm pulling a Gable Stevenson. We'll get to him later. But yeah, I'm going to go with Luke Riley on this one. I think he might just have a bit more to offer potentially. But it could be a surprise. Kakamaka the third, he could surprise us. And hopefully we do get surprised. Moving on to the bantamweight bout, Cody No Love Garbrandt versus Adrian Yanez. Now, if you ain't picking Cody Garbrandt for this fight, are you a real UFC fan? Man, fuck. Look, we all love Cody Garbrandt, I'm sure. Unless you're TJ Dillashaw watching this video, he's probably having a fucking tantrum here and that. But man, this guy's on the fucking prelims, right? Farid Basharat is on the early prelims, and Cody Garbrandt is on the fucking prelims. Somebody explain that to me. Somebody at the UFC, Hunter, Dana, whoever the fuck, explain this to me. Cody Garbrandt, this guy's getting wheeled out every fight. Feels like it's supposed to be his retirement fight. Obviously in his last fight, he was getting groin shotted a lot, I think, and this guy ended up basically just being sick into a bucket the whole fight. Pardon me for that. I was getting a wee bit nauseous thinking about how much Cody Garbrandt was throwing up in his last fight. But I mean, Cody Garbrandt technically is coming off of the win against Long, I think the guy's name was. Hey, is that the kid's name? Um, that was an amazing Dana White impression. But yeah, Cody Garbrandt coming off of a win. Um, I mean, I don't think it matters, to be honest. I think Adrian Yanez, I mean, look, I don't want to be that guy, but put me in that cage with Cody Garbrandt. See who wins that fight, right? See who wins that fight. But in all seriousness, I'm going to go with Adrian Yanez getting the win. Um, let's go with a decision. Let's go with a decision win over Cody Garbrandt. Next up on the card, we've got Gable Stevenson versus Elisha Ellison. Now, Gable Stevenson, he's an unlocked character, right? We haven't unlocked this character yet. Apparently this guy, from what I'm hearing in the grapevine, this guy, the grapevine, allegedly, this guy's a wee bit of a slippery, he's a wee bit of a slippery minx. He can wiggle his way out of certain situations. God forbid Elijah Ellison gets his guy in a submission attempt. Gable Stevenson, he's got a few loopholes. He's got a few tricks up his sleeve that he can pull. A few rules that they might not exist. After the fight happens, just something like that. Just something like that. Nothing crazy. Obviously, a student of John Jones. We all know what that means. Um, I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, I've been seeing these TikToks, right, of people talking about Tracy Cortez in the changing room with Gable Stevenson and Conor McGregor. You got to remember, John Jones is also in that changing room, right? John Jones will also be in that changing room. Um, I mean, if that's not a triple threat, I don't know what is. I mean, somebody like if you've got some alert system for like a sex offender registry, you're going to be getting fucking, notifications like crazy when you step into that locker room. We've got, the OG diddler, John Bone Jones. I mean, he's not really a diddler, but you know what I mean. He's just not a great guy. You've got Conor McGregor, who, we know what he's done. Past 5 years haven't exactly been kind to him. And now we have Gable Stevenson, obviously, coming off of that. What fucking split decision win in the police station. Either way, I think Gable Stevenson is probably going to win. I don't see why they wouldn't give him a layup fight. It seems like they're just giving him some random guy who's had one fight, I think, and he lost. Um, yeah, look, if Gable Stevenson doesn't win this fight, I think that might be the funniest thing ever. But yeah, Gable Stevenson by, I don't know, round two TKO, maybe round two KO. We move on to the last fight, the prelims. Nikita Krylov versus Robert Whittaker. Again, Robert Whittaker, man, this guy's got to be on the main card. I don't know why they're kicking my man on the prelims. Either way, Robert Whittaker. Last fight was the loss against Rainier de Ridder. However, again, it was at middleweight. Do you really count it when he's going up to light heavyweight? I mean, we kind of have to. It was his last fight. However, Nikita Krylov, um, his last fight was a win over Modestas Bukauskas. Hey, can we get a translation? By round three KO. So, this guy's got power in his hands. I think it'd be interesting to see what Robert Whittaker brings to light heavyweight. I mean, well, obviously, I think every UFC fan, no matter where you're from, we all want to see Robert Whittaker do well, especially up a weight class. You don't want to see, this guy getting fucking flatlined, unless you're some sort of devil. Um, but Nikita Krylov, he could just have too much power. I'll be very, very interested to see Robert Whittaker at light heavyweight. Maybe see how his speed, has it changed maybe? Because we know that he likes to throw combinations. We know he likes to, throw one shot after another, throw in a few kicks and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how his style maybe changes or how he kind of adapts to a heavy weight class. Um, my heart's saying Robert Whittaker by decision. I want to go with a Robert Whittaker decision. Start him off nice and easy at light heavyweight, and then we can, push him up the rankings a wee bit. We move on to the first fight of the main card, Terence McKinney and King Green. I think this is going to be a banger. I think this is going to be an absolute banger of a fight. Um, Terence McKinney, I could easily see this guy getting some sort of performance bonus. He could pull out some mental knockout in the first round. This guy, his energy going into fights is great, and then the dump, then he gets that dump, and I think did we see it against Chris Duncan, where this guy was doing everything he could to put Chris Duncan out, and it didn't work, and then Chris Duncan, I think I can't remember the exact submission, but I think he did get a submission win over him, and yeah, man, look, I enjoy the fight style, I really do, I really enjoy the fight style. Um, Ken Green, we love him. And the win against Jeremy Stevens is, eternal, right? We will not forget that performance against Jeremy Stevens, that prime Jeremy Stevens. Um, but I'm gonna have to go with Terence McKinney. I think the energy is gonna be a bit too much. And I mean, it's Terence McKinney and Jeremy Stevens, different kettle of fish. Let's just be honest. But yeah, first round TKO KO maybe from Terence McKinney. If he paces himself, maybe he gets it in the second round. We can only hope. We move on though to the next fight of the card, Brandon Royval and Loner Kavanagh. Now this, I think, this is one of the fights that I've actually had the most trouble trying to think of an outcome because Kavanagh, it's easy to say that Brandon Royval, he's coming off that KO loss to Manel Cap. Who gets knocked out by Manel Cap? Manel Cap's gyno, maybe it was distracting him. I for one, I'll be honest, if I saw some tits jiggling in the octagon, I'd be distracted too. Um, but no, I mean, look, Leonard Kavanagh, he's coming off that win against Brandon Moreno. Um, Crazy win, really good win. Got shot him right up the rankings, and he's now facing Brandon Royval, who's on a two-fight losing streak. Obviously, the loss to Joshua Van, and then the loss to Manel Cap. Look, man, I don't want to say that it looks rough for Brandon Royval because I really enjoy his fighting style, and his fights are always entertaining. Um, but this is a tricky one to call because Kavanagh, I mean, he's not had like tons of fights. He's maybe not been in there as long as Brandon Royval, but I mean, finishing Brandon Moreno, and listen, I know it's not, it's not like 2020 or 2021 Brandon Moreno. Um, it's not when he was champ, but it's still Brandon Moreno. Like that's still a pretty respectable win, especially if you're an up and coming prospect. Um, fuck, man, this is a really tricky one to call. I mean, I'm gonna say Kavanagh, but I will not be surprised if Royval manages to get it done as well. Um, that is a really good fight, really great matchup, and honestly, it's anyone's fight. Um, but yeah, really good fight. Looking forward to it. We move on to Corey Sandhagen and Mario Bautista 2. So, this is another rematch in the making. Their first fight was, I think, 2019, was it? And Corey Sandhagen got the win by armbar submission, I think it was. Um, Again, look, that's a wee bit unfair to bring up. I think you can't really bring that up now. Mario Batista, I feel, has probably, I mean, not probably, we've seen him develop his skills in the octagon. Pardon me, we've seen him develop his skills in the octagon. We know that this guy can smudge a win if he has to. Shout out Jose Aldo. Um, but I mean, he had a really good performance against Umar Magomedov, and I don't want to overlook that. Even though he did lose, look, it's a case of even though it was a loss, it really showed that he can be in there with the top guys at bantamweight, and he can hang with the guys. He can hang with the bros, at the top of bantamweight, even if he is ranked number seven. Corey Sandhagen, however, again, really exciting fight style, coming off that loss to Marab, which can you blame him? Um, who beats Marab these days, huh? Who beats Marab? I'll tell you who. Yan, pure Yan. I'm sorry, that just came out. Came out? What the fuck? Um, Either way, right? Well, moving on. Either way, I think, fuck, man. I mean, I could see Batista getting it, but I could also see Sanhagen getting it. Again, this is quite like the Royval Kavanagh matchup. This is a tricky one. Um, but I'm gonna go with Corey Sandhagen. I think Corey Sandhagen, he's just so technical on the feet, and his point scoring and his striking and his combinations I think are just like they're just that level above, I think. And look, I'm not saying Batista's bad by any means, but I just don't think that if he tries to smudge a win or even if he tries to strike with Sandhagen, I mean maybe he could get a submission. He's got some good grappling, some good BJJ, good wrestling. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to go with a Sandhagen win. But hey, man, Batista surprised me, surprised me. We move on to the co-main event of the night. BSD Benoit Saint Denis, coldest name in the UFC potentially, and we've got him against Paddy Pimblett. Um, I mean, this is a banger. No matter what way you want to look at it, who wins, who cares? It's a banger. Um, BSD's coming off of a knockout win over Dan Hooker. I mean, I could probably be coming off of a KO win against Dan Hooker. Let's be honest. However, that's still like a scrappy guy. It's unpredictable. It's a good win, right? It's a good win. It is a knockout. Paddy Pimblett obviously coming off that decision loss against Justin Gaethje. I mean, that was just a beatdown, let's be honest. Paddy Pimblett, I feel, really got shown that there was levels to the lightweight division. And my God, I was so. It's not that I was just like happy to see him fall, but I was just like, we were all right, okay? This guy was not ready for a title shot. He should not have been anywhere near the top three. I get that he was on, a bit of a winning streak, but I mean, think about all the other guys who go on winning streaks and who get nowhere near the title. Clear favoritism. Um, Scousers, I mean, maybe they're like the Mexicans of England, right? Maybe they're like the Mexicans of England, where Dana White privilege just kind of, it's just too much. But either way, I think, fuck, man. I think I'm leaning towards a BSD win. And I say that, but Paddy could surprise us. Paddy has surprised us in the past. Um, I didn't think that he would do so well against Gaethje. Um, and then watching the fight, oh, you obviously think this guy's going to get knocked out. He doesn't get knocked out. Scousers don't get knocked out. Um, Great Scouser impression again. Um, but yeah, I think BSD is going to just about get it. I don't know, man. I mean, maybe BSE edges it, and I know that Pimlet, he's got the hype and he's got all this kind of stuff coming into it, but I think you can't overlook BSG, man. You can't overlook him. People forget, man. People forget, man. This guy was murdering terrorists in Mali. He is a legitimate killer. Um, but I mean, he was killing the bad guys, right? The bad guys. Um, Either way, I'm gonna go with a BSD win. Let's call it. Ooh, let's call it a. I mean, he doesn't get knocked out, but he's never faced the God of War. I mean, who knocks out Benil Dariush? Who does that? Um, I'm hearing people saying that the Wind has just claimed a knockout win over Darius, but it is what it is. I'm going to go with a BSD win over Paddy Pimlet. Let's go with a round 3 TKO. I don't think he will knock him out clean. I think it's going to be a stoppage. Maybe Paddy just gets beaten up a bit too much. But yeah, let's go for that. Let's go for that. And we finally have arrived at the main event, Conor McGregor, Max Holloway. This is going to be, I mean, this has potential to be the worst fight of the year. And I mean, genuinely, it has potential to be the worst fight of the year. And I say that not because of who's fighting. I mean, guys, come on. 5 years out of the octagon, ring rust. He's probably got, cock rust. He'll have all sorts of rust. He's looking good though. In the clips and stuff from the fight week, he is looking sharp. He's looking good. He's getting back on the microphone. Getting back to that kind of corner that we used to know. Um, but Max Holloway, man, I mean, shit, man. The best is blessed. I mean, fuck, man. Who are we going to give this to? I think McGregor, God, I mean, I don't even want to entertain the idea that this guy is going to be getting a win in the Big 26. Um, I mean, fuck, man. Max Holloway, you can say what you want about his performance against Charles Oliveira. I'd like to see you in a fucking octagon for 25 minutes with Charles Oliveira, right? Um, if that was Conor, yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ, it would have been, well, it would have been the same thing, to be honest. Um, but Max Holloway, I mean, you have to go with Max Holloway. This guy's been more active more recently. He's had more recent wins. Yes, he's coming off of a loss, but like remember, he's had his performances against Gaethje, against Poirier, um, against all these kind of guys at the lightweight, in the lightweight division. And I just don't think you can overlook that, okay? Is Max getting a wee bit older? Sure, but they're moving up a weight. And if Max wants to stay at welterweight, God bless that man. I mean, really, what the fuck is wrong with you to think that you can hang in a division with, Morales, Prates, Ian Gary, Makachev? I mean, this guy, look, man, fair enough, do what you want, but fuck, that's a bit of a mental thing to want to do. Um, Either way, Max Holloway, he is going to get a TKO stoppage in the, I want to say, second or third round. I'll go with a second or third round TKO stoppage. Um, I mean, if I were Max, I would just spam the fucking leg kicks. Let's all just be honest. You would do it too. If you're facing McGregor, no matter what state McGregor is in, he is still McGregor. He can still catch you. And so if you are Holloway, you would be dumb not to just spam the leg kicks. Obviously the boxing, I think Holloway's gonna just show levels. He's gonna show the fact that consistency and activity is you know, the recipe for getting a win. Inactivity and being out for 5 years. It's just, I mean, like no one is really. I mean, GSP, you could maybe make the argument, but that's GSP. You know, I mean, as much as you can like McGregor, he ain't no GSP, right? Let's be honest. Um, so yeah, round 2 or 3 TKO stoppage for Max Holloway in this main event. You know, if you agree, tell me below. If you disagree, tell me below as well. I'd like to hear other thoughts on this. And yeah, hopefully it's a banger. The fight week has been looking pretty good, and yeah, hopefully we get a great card on.